Good morning, audience. I hope you're having a wonderful spring morning. It's Jeff and Ron here once again with the Sense of Things. And on today's show, we're going to talk about some fun facts that Ron has. He's got a few things to talk about in the market and what's going on. And of course, as per usual, the big Wall Street firms are adjusting their end of year, this time down because they're so smart and they know more than the rest of us about where the market's going to be by the end of the year. And usually they're incredibly wrong, as always. Ron and I will stick to our guns with whatever we come up with or what we came up with in December, and we're not making adjustments from there. Then we'll discuss a little bit about what I would call the tariff hysteria that's been out there. We've talked about tariffs, but I love to watch the media and how crazy they can get with all this stuff. So that's what we're going to discuss today on the show. Stay tuned. We'll be right back on in just 1 second. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Sense of Things. Ron, how are you, my friend?
Good morning. Good morning. Doing well. There hasn't been anything going on in the news. It's been boring in the last week.
Oh, I know. It's just nothing's going on. We're in that spring break mode. Everybody's going on spring break next week here in Austin. Everybody's just in the calm mode.
Yeah, the political temperature has simmered down a little bit. No volatility in the market. A snooze fest.
I thought the funniest thing, I saw something this morning where they're like, crowds of people went after Tom Homan. I'm like, I wouldn't do that, man. He's a tough son of a bitch. I
saw some video.
I don't think I'd screw with him
because he's that stuff anymore.
Oh, it's just insane.
Pollution for the brain.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I'm like, you know what? The only thing you've got to do is protest. Find something else better to do because you suck at it.
Obviously, and I truly believe whether it's one side or the other over the years, I think these people are paid. What are you doing in the middle of the frickin' day that you got nothing better to do?
Yeah.
Except feel righteous.
Plus, you come out with your really nice pre-printed signs. If you've ever, as a business owner, had to pay for anything like that, I mean, each one of those things is probably $5 to $10. And you've got pre-printed signs and all this. All right, a good protest with a bunch of handwritten signs, I'll buy into. But if you've got pre-printed signs, I'm sorry.
Yeah, show stuff in crayon and magic marker.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Magic marker, we'll go with that. So you got some fun stuff for us, right?
Yes, I do. Here we go. Last week we did 3 trivia questions. We're going to do 3 more this week.
Nice.
The fingerprints of what animal extremely resembles human fingerprints?
I'm going to say chimpanzees or some kind of monkey.
You know what? I hear you. That's where I would have gone too. It is not. It's actually one of my favorite animals that I saw in person in the wild. It is the koala.
Really?
Yeah, that kind of shocked me too.
Yeah, and I haven't been. One of our bucket list items is to go to Australia Zoo. And they've got a zookeeper for a day program where you can select you want to go in and spend like several hours with and feed and all kinds of cool stuff like that. So
yeah,
koalas are on my list. My wife's not too happy about koalas, but I am. So
I was at the Sydney Zoo, and obviously they got animals there we don't have here, but there were some areas we could talk offline where I had gone, somebody had told me where to go, and you're in the wild. They said, yeah, just look up in the trees when you're going down this road. And there they were. It was really, you don't want to get close to them, but it was actually very cool.
No, the ones that are in the regular, that's it. But
all right, here we go. I wouldn't necessarily, you and I are a sloth, but how long does a sloth take to digest its food?
They're slow moving as it is. Let's go with
not much metabolism there.
24 hours at least.
24 hours. Okay.
2 weeks. Holy crap.
That's a pretty slow digestive system.
That's a massively slow digestive system. So good God.
And what are the 2 most popular spices in the world?
2 most popular spices. I'd say cinnamon and paprika.
Okay. No. Pepper and mustard. And here's
pepper
the
and mustard.
thing. I didn't know mustard was a spice. I know
Yeah,
you can
I
buy it in
wouldn't
a
really.
spice bottle, but I'm thinking,
Yeah,
squeezing
I
it.
think squeeze mustard or whatever, or even grainy mustard or whatever. But yeah, I wouldn't think mustard because we cook a lot of different kind of cuisines, and I honestly can't think of a
Maybe it's a
cuisine
big
where
deal in Europe or in
where I
Asia. I
would
don't
use
know.
mustard. That Germans use a lot of mustard, but other than that's weird. I just don't know a lot of cultures that use mustard as a spice.
Hey, listen, you and I aren't just here for decoration. We're here to
I know
educate.
we're not here for prettiness, but yeah, that's definitely not what we're here for.
All right, so here's the first of the fun slides. So, of course, corporate earnings are finally getting revised. And that's why, and we'll get to some other fun stuff on the next slide. When we get to the end of the year, there's always a problem. Next year is going to be great. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. And then look, I think that this is interesting. If you're just looking back at 10 years, the red lines here about how many corporate earnings the guidance have been withdrawn or lowered.
Interesting. Yeah.
That's crazy. Now, obviously, this is all based on tariffs, but the thing is, the majority of them aren't even in place yet.
No.
So how do you know the effect? Now, obviously, this is going to affect some businesses more so than others, and then some businesses won't be affected at all.
Mm.
I just think this is crap. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. This is just garbage.
This is the game that corporate CEOs play where it's like, oh, we're going to withdraw or pull back guidance because of tariffs. And then, oh, look at the amazing earnings we've had and cause the stocks to go up. I think the funniest thing, and we'll talk about this in my little riff on the tariff stuff. I think the funniest thing is so many of these companies, the markets, oh, we're going to just drop them down because of tariffs. Okay, they do software. What tariff is going to be on software? Unless you're making a hard physical product, there's not a tariff on it.
I know, but you know what? This is the sideways action on that because what the EU or whatever, basically they could do taxation on Amazon products and other
Yeah.
things like that. There are things that they can do that could just be
Well,
ridiculous.
but that's the other part. I think all of our friends in Europe, they love to play this game. Oh, we don't have tariffs. Yeah, but you have a 20 freaking percent value added tax, which
Right,
I
the
still
VAT.
don't understand what value added you're adding to it to cause me to tax. Yeah, oh, you added value to something, so we're going to tax you. Yeah, it's not a direct tariff, but you're slapping a purchase with 20% on top of it.
And you brought up something earlier on this slide that I wanted to bring up also because I truly believe that I don't know if this is a one word or two word. Maybe you can help me out with this. Usually I'm a
Mm.
decent wordsmith, but I truly believe by doing a withdrawal of the corporate earnings, they're sandbagging.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Is that one or
Hands
two word
down.
sandbag? I think it's one word.
I think it's one word. Yeah.
I
But oh, yeah,
know,
I
by
totally.
saying, hey, look, we don't know. Stock goes down, whatever.
Yep.
And then when everything, the dust settles in the next couple of quarters, hey,
Oh,
there we
God, yes.
go.
Oh, my God. Look at this. Q2 earnings were just way above what our estimates were. Yeah, whatever.
I know.
It's like
All right.
it's the game playing. And you see this with what you're going to talk about in a little bit, too, with adjusting the market expectation, too.
Absolutely. But what I want to do before that, I wanted to go through some of our old favorite slides here with a few
Okay.
updates. So here we go. This is the delinquency rate on credit card loans.
Interesting.
This is 35 years.
Yeah.
It was peaking a little bit at the end of 2023
Mm.
and into 2024, but this isn't getting any better.
Yeah.
And if unemployment goes up, this will definitely take effect. The next one is credit card balances. This is another one of our
Mm-hmm.
favorites. This is continuing to go up. It's not going anywhere. And then I think the most egregious thing that Congress does need to get involved is the average
Interest
credit
rates.
card rate.
Yeah.
For years, it vacillated between 10 and 16%. All of a sudden in COVID, we spike up and we're over 21 to 22%. This makes no sense. I
Yeah.
don't understand this, especially with prime going down. But this is just basically the banks and the credit card companies just being egregious with the rate because
Yeah.
they see that the carryover debt is so high. I think that this could be considered price gouging, or they could use some kind of terminology on
Usury.
this
Yeah. It's
to
just
force
straight
it
up
to a more
usury.
palatable region.
Yeah. And like I said, yes, I get it. They're trying to protect themselves and their shareholders a bit. But the reality is, okay, you're going to have more defaults if you're turning over 25% per year, or you're growing your amounts at 25% per year. And this is just infuriates me that we create organizations like the Consumer Protection Bureau, whatever the hell that thing is. And why are you not looking into this? Why are you looking
I
into
don't know if
everything
this
else
comes under
but
that
this?
umbrella, but it should.
Yeah, I would think this is the biggest thing that should be under that consumer. Okay, we've got people that are going to be losing, they're basically going bankrupt and losing everything because their credit card interest rates are 22%. Yeah, I get it. They've got to be up there because there is going to be defaults and they're increasing, although it looks like they're rolling over a little bit, which is interesting, even though stuff has gone up. But hopefully, if we can get some certainty in the market, hopefully small businesses and businesses in general will start hiring, because we know the government isn't going to anymore. And the government's going to be a negative to that impact. There are going to be a lot more government employees looking for jobs. So hopefully the private market's able to gather some of those folks up, because there's lots of really smart people that work for the federal government that would probably be picked up by a small company, I would assume.
Yep, and we'll have to see. Maybe on a quarterly basis, we should monitor this.
Yeah.
And then I just thought when I saw this, I wanted to throw up. Here we are, and then on the right-hand side, you can see I brought this up because this is from one of our December podcasts when all of the big players out there put out their forecast for this year, and Goldman Sachs was the first one to lower it to this level. And I just think that this is crazy because of course they could say there's uncertainty with the tariffs and stuff like that. Of course they could look at the consumer stuff saying they're slowing down. But we are 2.5 months in, and you're already low. Do this in June or July, for crying out loud.
Yeah, okay, maybe if you want to make a little bit of an adjustment there, then they'll slyly pop it back up as, oh, it looks like it's going up, so we're going to adjust it up. And look, we were right on track.
And then let's just say that I think the tariffs will have some impact, obviously, but let's just say they have a mild to little impact or whatever. These things are going to go right back up again. And how many times did we do it last year? And most of these all revised at least once last year.
Yep.
Several twice. I don't know if any
And
of
a lot of them, I think when we were having those conversations, a lot of them were making the adjustment on the fly around July-ish or something like that, or they were looking at, because I think a part of it last year was we were in the midst of a presidential election, and you had right around July, that's when July, August was when the first debate was, and then there was a lot of uncertainty, and they made some adjustments. But guys, we're just at the middle of March.
But here's the egregious thing, and then you could go on to your trifecta thing. Trump was already elected in early November. They finalized their price targets mid-December. He had been threatening the whole thing with tariffs before the election and post-election. So weren't these going into the model in some way, form, or fashion? And also, like I said, the majority of this has been a lot of BS and bluster that hasn't even taken effect yet. And now they're lowering it?
Yeah.
Come on. Come on. You don't even know yet.
Yeah.
This is
Well, and you're not factoring in, you're not factoring in that probably sooner rather than later, they're going to get some tax policy done. It's not going to happen quick, but it's going to happen. I would think in the first half of the year, we're going to get some tax policy done where it gives some surety, everything else. And once again, just like we talked about at the beginning of this, all these companies, I've seen this game played out over and over. They sandbag, and then, oh, look how amazing we are. We've had these amazing things. Okay, if you can't predict, once again, service companies, if you can't predict based on these tariffs, okay, you're delivering a service or you're delivering a software program, it's not going to be tariffed. It might be taxed or something like that by the European Union or something, but it's not going to be tariffed. So it has nothing to do with it. You should be able to predict what your revenues are and everything else. And
Right.
don't give me this BS that, oh, because of these tariffs, we just can't even figure this stuff out. Yeah, whatever. You're sandbagging. So,
100%. All right, what do you got?
all right, I want to just share something really quick. And it's something that I've just been looking at and looking at. And interestingly enough, I reread the last few weeks The Art of the Deal. I've read
Ah,
that multiple times and I've reread The Art of the Deal. I just, the media drives me freaking crazy because they just hate Trump no matter what. I'm not always a big fan of his approach to things, but you got to give the guy a little bit of credit because he's done a lot of stuff really fast. But I think, what people aren't realizing is when you read The Art of the Deal, effectively, what Trump says in the book is you punch somebody in the face and then you pat them on the back. And what's happening? Okay, so let's talk about Panama. Panama was okay, we're going to take back the Panama Canal, blah, 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 blah. So then what happens? Right after he gets confirmed, Marco Rubio goes down to Panama, has some conversations with them, and okay, so they got punched in the face. Marco goes down there and calms things down a little bit, has some discussions. And then what happens? Howard Lutnick over here has some discussions with his White House or with his Wall Street compatriots. And what ends up happening? BlackRock goes in and buys out the Hong Kong company that's running those ports. Boom. Problem solved at that point. What happens? Punch Canada in the face a couple times. They start fighting back, blah, 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 blah. What's happening today? Marco Rubio's up in Canada meeting with his counterparts in anticipation of the G7. What's going to probably happen? Howard Lutnick's going to head up there and start negotiating some of this tariff stuff and all that. So these guys are really smart and a good team, and they work really exceptionally together. Where you're seeing Rubio and Mike Walls, I think it's Mike Walls, working together on all this stuff. So they're working together as a team. I would say the only challenge is going to be is you got a big personality in Howard Lutnick that right now he's on the game, but is he going to be on the game the whole time? I don't know. But some of this stuff is okay. You guys have got to just calm the heck down, let things calm down a little bit. Personally, with clients and my own investment strategy, we pulled a lot of risk off the table at the beginning of the month, and it's just wait and see. Let the market. I heard when I started in this business, there used to be a show called Wall Street Week, and the guy who ran that show always said it was the institutional children running up and down
Louis
the
Rukeyser.
hallways. Yep, Lou Rukeyser. The institutional children are running up and down the hallways with their hair pulling it out and screaming and yelling right now. You just got to hang loose. If you can stay invested in the market, as Ron talked about last time, if you can stay invested and stomach it and not watch it, you'll be fine just staying invested. If you're like some of my clients, they were rather concerned and they've got large amounts of money. I had already made adjustments before a lot of them even called me this month because we pulled some things off the table because I knew they can't handle those big movements in the market.
Gotcha. No, I hear you. Listen, it's a freaking soap opera, and it's every day is a new episode, just
Yeah.
like a soap opera.
Yeah.
And look, I don't agree with a lot of what's going on. I do agree with some things, but the problem is that, yeah, the problem is nobody is used to the punch in the face. And I'm not a big Trump guy. I lean
Mhm.
right in some areas when it comes to a lot of this stuff. And I always hated the expression, but this absolutely holds true, this expression. You can't make an omelet until you break a few eggs.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with a lot of the Doge stuff because I truly believe if you find stuff, let's go to a committee and let's just make sure
Mm.
it's not two people making a decision here.
Yeah.
Let's go through it. And if we truly need to get rid of it, then let's get rid of it.
Yeah.
But the fact that something's identified, they make news of it, wait, let's double and triple check this. I don't see any
Mm.
checks and balances here. So there are certain things that I do, and there are certain
Yeah.
other things that I believe that should have a different approach, for lack of a better
Mm,
way of maybe politically glossing over what I really want to say. But
yeah.
I think there are different approaches. Some may work, some may different,
Mm,
but nobody likes the idea that, hey, we're just ripping the Band-Aid off.
yeah. And I think we're, for the first time ever in my life that I can ever remember, we're actually looking at downsizing the government a little bit and how much
Which
it's
is a good
gotten.
thing.
Yeah, how much it's gotten completely out of control. I love the thing that they were talking about with the VA, and they're like, they're reducing force, all that, and it's going to affect VA and all that. And I'm like, the 80,000 people that have been hired since 2019, none of them were actually client facing people. It was just all bureaucracy behind the scenes. I
And
think
a
if
lot of
we
the
can,
government hiring in the last 4 years
oh,
has
it's
been there to
insane.
prop up the employment
Yeah.
number. I don't want to
I,
get political,
yeah.
but let's be realistic. I don't care what side you're on. The government is bloated, but I
Yeah.
want to make sure we're taking a scalpel, not a sledgehammer to the process.
Absolutely. And I think now that you've got a lot of these cabinet, all the cabinet secretaries are in place, now it becomes more of, okay, it's their responsibility to make these decisions, not Elon's or anything like that. Elon's really there, I think, providing that team. And I think you're seeing less and less of him being that guy up front saying, okay, we need to cut these programs, and more of, hey, here's the stuff we've identified. You, cabinet secretary, figure out what it is. And I think you're seeing that with EPA. Lee Zeldin, really, since the beginning, has just been like, all right, we're going to dig into this stuff right away and figure it out and start running it. I think more and more you're going to see less and less of Elon being that one out front, and that Doge team behind the scenes saying, all right, what's there, what's not, what can we remove, what can't we. Linda McMahon, hearing her the other day, yes, they want to shut down Department of Education. Honestly, I don't think you need to completely shut it down. You just need to pare it back to what they do best. And running a portfolio of student loans, I don't think they do best at all.
Now, there's an HR expression I learned a long time ago. They really don't use the word downsize anymore. They call it right sizing. And probably a lot of government
I mean,
needs that.
yes, it's true. It's glass half full, half empty. I just think there's so much that can be done. All the money we're spending on a lot of stuff, can we not spend some of that money on technology and making things, the processes, smoother? And hopefully we've got some people that are business people running this stuff that think about processes more. And okay, where are we doing three things, just like the retirement thing that we talked about a month or so ago with how many people can we retire? Only $10,000 or 10,000 people a month. Why? Because we've got all this paperwork we've got to do and all that. Why are we still using paperwork for
Right.
retirement stuff in 2025? And why are we
Bureaucracy.
storing all this paperwork in a mine in Pennsylvania?
Probably because to keep jobs. Hey, listen,
Well,
last quick thing, because I know we got to go. I was very disappointed when I heard some things. Remember the whole thing about the potential port shutdown last year?
yep,
One of the negotiating things from the union was they weren't allowed to do certain improvements to port because it would kill jobs.
yep,
Then we found out that I think we're not even in the top 10 in port
no,
efficiency in the world. So
nope. In fact, we're in the bottom.
why are the unions dictating efficiency? Because probably that would also improve safety.
Yep,
So these are the things that unfortunately people just unfortunately drop their pants and just say, look, we have no other choice here. But here we are, less efficient, less safe because we're keeping jobs. That
yeah.
makes no sense.
Yeah, that was the funny part because I think we did a thing on that where we did the top, let's say, 10 ports and the bottom 10 ports, and we had more in the bottom 10 ports. I don't think we had a single one in the top 10. And the
And
ones
that's
that were
because of the unions. Now we
yeah,
know. I didn't know that
yeah.
before all this shook out last year.
And part of their contract was you cannot bring automation into these ports and stuff like that. Okay, so we're always going to be limited by humans.
And it slows
Yeah,
things down.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And they have control over it. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because you look at some of the, I think Antwerp is the most efficient. If I remember, Antwerp is the most efficient, and it's 90% of it is just automation. All the cranes and stuff like that are all automated, and even the trucks that take the containers off site are like, they're self-driving trucks and stuff like that. And then it gets off site, they pick up it with a tractor, and boom, they go with a human and a tractor, they take it away. But yeah, most of that internal stuff is run, and that's what they don't want, because they're really good paying jobs, and it's been a history of people with those jobs.
I hear you. And if our podcast was an hour, we'd be able to solve all the world's problems.
And it's not. So that said, folks, thanks a lot for joining us once again. Didn't mean to get more political than we usually do, but I think some of this kind of all falls into politics sometimes. But what I would tell you is calm down, relax, adjust if you need to your portfolios. If not, just let sleeping dogs lie, and things will all improve, probably when the next earnings reports come out and they're all through the roof. So thanks a lot. Join us the next time. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you again next time.